It's your personal ego, then it's considered.
આમાં તો yeah, please. Guys, please. આમાં વસ્તુ એવી છે કે કોઈ બી ઇસ્યુ આવે, if board cannot resolve the issue, then it goes to trustee board. બોર્ડ જો રિઝોલ્વ કરી નાખે તો ટ્રસ્ટી બોર્ડ પાસે જવાની કંઈ જરૂર જ નથી. અને બોર્ડથી ધારો કે કોઈ ઇસ્યુ થાય અને બોર્ડ કેન રિઝોલ્વ ઇટ, ટ્રસ્ટી બોર્ડ પાસે જવાની જરૂર જ નથી. એટલે પહેલાં તો બોર્ડે જ રિઝોલ્વ કરવાનું છે. એક્ઝિક્યુટિવ બોર્ડ રિઝોલ્વ કરે, એક્ઝિક્યુટિવ બોર્ડ પછી એન્થની થાય તો આ બધા બોર્ડ ઓફ ડિરેક્ટર્સ છે એ વાત કરે કે ભાઈ આનું શું છે, અને એ લોકો ભેગા મળીને જો રિઝોલ્વ કરી નાખે તો ટ્રસ્ટી બોર્ડ તો વોચ વોચિંગ એન્ટિટી છે, એ તો વોચ જ કરવાનું છે. અને એ લોકોથી મુખ્ય આપણો હેતુ શું છે કે સમાજ લાઈન પર ચાલે, જે પ્રમાણે આપણા તમે લોકો બાયલોઝ અને પોલિસી પ્રોસિજર પાસ કરેલા છે તેને ફોલો થાય. ધેટ્સ ધ ગોલ. અને એ જ રીતના કામ થાય તો સમાજ આગળ વધે. ધેટ્સ ધ મેઇન થિંગ. આ બધાને આ કેટલો બધો ટાઈમ કાઢીને આવેલા છે. ધેટ્સ ધ ગોલ.
I think the question is what triggers the motion to go to the trustee board? What triggers it? How does it get to the trustee board? I think that's what the concern is. Is it writing or what?
Writing?
No, I'm just saying, I'm just asking for them. They're not saying I'm asking. So how does it get to you guys? The trustee board, right? That's the question. What triggers it?
How about this? Can we, let's put an example up that maybe everybody will understand, and we can play through it so everybody gets it.
We can just take the real life situation. Wait, I get it, like.
Can I ask you one question? Is board supposed to send you guys the request to investigate, or you guys going to investigate by yourself and get it?
So there were a number of things being asked. So, if an issue is brought to the trustee board, then the trustee board is looking at it. If an issue is observed by the trustee board, then the trustee board is looking at it. As an example, okay, his luggage is lost, all that stuff, right? And, somebody wants to put an ethics complaint on him, and they take it to the trustee board, then we can say, don't worry about it, done deal. I'm going to use the example because this one's near and dear to me, right? The money that's been lost, okay? The money that's been lost. I've asked for a simple thing. Just tell me what process you've changed so it doesn't happen again. I could give a crap about the money. The money's gone, right? But what have you done so that it will never happen again? We, as a trustee board, if I was on it, would observe that you guys haven't done crap on changing a policy or a procedure to make sure that doesn't happen again. And I would then, as a trustee board, recommend to somebody that this get done. If the officers then don't do it, then I should have the right for disciplinary action. Because that's an issue. So you wanted an example? There's an example. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's an observed situation.
So the first step is to the board of trustee, I wouldn't mind to recommend or suggest or ask to the board. Then the second step comes to take a disciplinary action. That should be in that process.
Okay,
So a little bit.
So, can I put recommend change?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Subhai.
Disciplinary action must be in writing. Send out to the president, right? And then take the action. Right, go to the board. That's what you do.
Can I make a suggestion to keep it simple? Sure. I just had an idea. All disciplinary actions must be submitted to the board as a decision by the trustees, but can be turned over by 66%. That way it's always final board decision.
All the disciplinary action returned to only executive board first. then they can turn over to the.
Then they turn
the
over to the
trustee.
board.
A discussion with some conference call.
ડિસિપ્લિનરી એક્શન હોય ને તો ફૂલ બોર્ડ ઇન્વોલ્વ હોય તો જ સારું પડે.
Yes.
ફૂલ બોર્ડ જ જોઈએ, કારણ કે એક્ઝિક્યુટિવ બોર્ડમાં એ નાની છે, થોડું ઘણું આમ તેમ હોય, પણ ફૂલ બોર્ડ હોય એમની પાસે પૂરેપૂરો રાઈટ છે કે એને સ્ટોપ કરવાનો કે ગો થ્રુ કરવાનો.
Investigation by trustee, then they go back to the game,
And that's
then
it.
make a decision.
It's board decides.
અને આમાં મ્યુચ્યુઅલ છે, કોણ કોને ક્યારે જણાવે તે નહીં. ધારો કે ટ્રસ્ટી બોર્ડને એમ લાગ્યું કે ભાઈ આમાં તમે કંઈ કરતા નથી, તો એ લોકોને રાઇટિંગમાં ઈમેલ કરે. બીજું શું છે કે આ કમ્યુનિકેશન બધું રાઇટિંગમાં જ કરવું પડે. ઇફ ધેર ઇઝ અ ડિસિપ્લિનરી એક્શન then it has to be in writing, and communication has to be in writing.
Okay, this is what I was trying to say, and maybe I didn't communicate it properly. Regardless of the decision by the trustee board, it has to be submitted in writing to the president. The president has to review that with the entire board, and 66% will pass it.
Yes.
That way it's protected on both sides.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
You guys only do the recommend, right?
ratified by 66%.
Only recommendation.
No, overturn. Ratify next. Not ratify. Overturn only.
Guys, please.
Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to stand up on this one. Okay,
This is very, very important, not ratify. If the board wants to overturn, then they need 65. 66%.
so a decision is made by the trustee board, it is given in writing to the president president presents it to the board saying the trustees just made this decision, and it can be overridden by 66%.
Wouldn't it be better
Yeah.
for the trustee to give it to the board first?
President board.
If it's involving the president,
આમાં એક વસ્તુ છે ને કે કોણ ક્યારે ઇન્વોલ્વ થયેલું હોય ને તેના પર આધાર રાખે કે if the board is involved, board is going to put it under the table. If the executive board is involved, it's going to go under the table. If the president and officers are involved, goes under the table. આમાં એક વસ્તુનો ખાસ ધ્યાન રાખવાનું છે, કોઈને પનિશ કરવા કે કોઈને કાઢવા માટે કંઈ થવાનું આનું એસ્ટાબ્લિશમેન્ટ કરવામાં આવ્યું છે. અને એટલા માટે કરવાનું કે આપણો સમાજ સ્મૂથ ચાલે. ધેટ ઇઝ ધ ઓનલી ગોલ. આમાં કોણ આજે કેટલી મહેનતથી આ લોકો ઓફિસર બન્યા, તમે લોકો એક્ઝિક્યુટિવ કમિટીમાં આવ્યા ને આ બોર્ડ ઓફ ડિરેક્ટર્સ કેટલો બધો સમય કાઢીને આવે, કોની પાસે આ ટાઈમ છે? એટલે આમાં એક વસ્તુને આ જે મશીનરી છે એને વેલ ઓઇલ મશીનરી તરીકે ચાલે તેનો જ ગોલ છે.
I understand.
ને ઇટ હેઝ ટુ બી ઇન રાઇટિંગ.
No, I understand. We just need to make it.
Yeah, I got yours covered too. Okay. The disciplinary action, governing documents which may result in disciplinary actions by the trustee board. The trustee board must be in writing, will submit that to the president for review by the full board, which can be turned over by 66%. Unless it involves the president, then the submission will go to the vice president. There are no other scenarios.
I hope કે એવી સિચ્યુએશન આવે નહીં, first of all.
This is just the.
મુકેશ ભાઈ, આમાં પોલિટિક્સ બોલવામાં હે ભાઈ. તમે તે કીધું, તમારે પૂરી જાય. કારણ કે અમારે 5 જણા કહે કે આમને તેમ ને પછી બોર્ડ પાસે લાવે બધું. In my opinion, board supposed to recommend trustee કે ભાઈ આને ઇન્વેસ્ટિગેટ કરો if they know something. ને તમારું પેલું કે ને બધા બાયલોસ ફોલો નહીં કરતા હોય તો બોર્ડ ઓટોમેટિકલી તમને કહે કે ભાઈ this is not going on.
No, Deepak bhai, that's exactly what it is. There are two ways that a trustee board gets involved. One is, example, right? KPI, trustee board and KPI have an issue. That's one. The other one is the trustee board observes a problem. મેં 90,000નો જે એક્ઝામ્પલ આપ્યું હતું.
Right.
Right? Trustee board then reviews it, comes up with the action, whatever it may be, submits it to the president. Unless it's his issue, then we give it to vice president, whatever the decision is, and then it's presented to the board that this is what the trustee board has done. If the board doesn't agree with it, it takes 66% to reverse it. Then there's no politics, no nothing, but the board is still has the ability with 2/3 vote to control it.
Yes, but only one thing, you need a time limit.
Time. Within 30.
That was the issue for year and year.
Okay, so on a complaint, I would recommend 30 days, but on an observation, this is sort of subject to observation.
Observation, there's no way you can put the limits on it.
You know, it's funny.
Guys, please.
You know, this Samaj, if you guys have been involved, there was a speaker who went on stage one day and he used the words, if you know a problem or if you see a problem, you own the problem. Okay? Right? As board of directors, with all of you guys sitting in this room, if you know a problem, if you see a problem, you own the problem. Right? So if you own the problem, you see the problem, you have to take care of it, right? Now, the only problem on the time limit is, how will you know, okay, I saw it 60 days ago or 30 days ago, on that side. On a complaint, 30 days, 100% I agree, right? So we can put that in there too, that should be responded to within 30 days, give them time.
મુકેશભાઈ, આપણે બોર્ડ ડિસિપ્લિનરી એક્શન આપીને અમને આપે ને અમારે ઓવરરૂલ કરવાનું એની કરતાં તમે રેકમેન્ડેશન આપો ને અમે 2/3 પાસ કરીને તમને આપીએ તો ડિફિકલ્ટી ક્યાં આવે?
So the difference is, to your point, ratification of the decision versus overturning the decision. Right? But emotionally, it's different. Emotionally, you're giving the trustee board as an independent board to do investigations and come up with a recommendation, and then asking the board to overturn it if necessary. The other way, the board is policing itself and saying that we'll take care of it, don't worry about it.
કહેવાનો તો મુકેશભાઈ કે તમે અમને રિકમેન્ડેશન આપી દો બરાબર ને બોર્ડ 2/3 એક્શન નહીં લે રાઈટ then you can do disciplinary action by yourself પણ બોર્ડને પહેલો રાઈટ આપવો પડે તમે આપો ને પછી અમારે ડિનાયલમાં જવાનું that is
Again, it can be done that way. It's really up to you guys, right? What Jagdishwar is saying that you guys will come up with the disciplinary action, and if it doesn't pass, then it goes to the guys to come up. Right? But the whole reason you have the trustee board is to come up with the disciplinary action.
Hello. Hello. મુકેશભાઈ પતિ ગયું ઓકે થેન્ક યુ in my opinion અનુભવ તમને વધારે છે હું એની કદર કરું પણ જે આ બધા બોર્ડ મેમ્બર જે આવે છે ને એ આખા અમેરિકામાંથી આવે એ આખા અમેરિકાનું પ્રતિનિધિત્વ કરે એક સ્ટેટનું અને બોર્ડને એવું લાગે એક્ઝિક્યુટિવ કમિટીમાંથી કે ઓફિસર કોઈ બી કંઈ ખોટું કરતો હોય તો તે પહેલી ખબર કોને પડે બોર્ડને પડે તો બોર્ડને ખબર પડે તો એ રેકમેન્ડેશન બોર્ડ પાસેથી જવી જોઈએ રેકમેન્ડેશન ટ્રસ્ટી પાસે જાય તો એ બોર્ડ પાસેથી જવી જોઈએ કે ભાઈ કંઈ આશિકભાઈ ખોટું કરતા છે અને ત્યાર પછી ટ્રસ્ટીએ ઇન્વોલ્વ થવું જોઈએ એવું મારું અંગત માનવું છે પછી તો બધાને જે અનુકૂળતા હોય તે પ્રમાણે કરવામાં કંઈ વાંધો નથી.
Now, Ashik, actually, you're right, but you used the wrong word. The complaint trustee board is doing it. Recommendation.
એટલે કમ્પ્લેન
That's what
ઓકે
I
કે આસિફભાઈ કોઈ ખોટું કરતા છે તો આમાં ભાઈ હવે તમે કંઈ કરો.
Yeah, that's the complaint.
એટલે એ બોર્ડ થ્રુ જવું જોઈએ, ટ્રસ્ટી પાસેથી બોર્ડ પર નહીં આવવું જોઈએ. પહેલા બોર્ડ પાસેથી જવું જોઈએ.
A complaint doesn't come from
જો ભાઈઓ અને બહેનો,
Guys, please.
ભાઈઓ અને બહેનો, આમાંથી કંઈ ગભરાવાની જરૂર નથી. તમે કંઈ ખોટું કરતા હોય તો ગભરાવાની જરૂર છે. ને મને 100% ખાતરી છે આમાંથી કોઈ ખોટું કરતું જ નથી. બરાબર, સમાજ માટે કોઈ નથી ખોટું કરતું. કમ્પ્લેન આવી જોઈએ. તમે આ એલેક્સભાઈ કમ્પ્લેન કરી કે ભાઈ હિતેશભાઈ કામ નથી કરતા અને આટલું આટલું કરેલું છે, $100 ચોરી લીધેલા કે જે હોય એ કમ્પ્લેન અહીં આવે, પછી એ લોકો ઇન્વેસ્ટિગેટ કરે અને 30 daysમાં રેકમેન્ડેશન આપે, ડિસિઝન આપે. That can be turned by 66% of this board. That can be done on virtual or conference call also now. આપણે ચેન્જ કર્યું હતું, તમે ચેન્જ કર્યું તે પ્રમાણે. એટલે આમાં કંઈ બહુ ઇસ્યુ. બીજું આગળ કેવું કે ટ્રસ્ટી બોર્ડ તો છે જ, ટ્રસ્ટી બોર્ડને ખાલી એક્સ્ટ્રા ડ્યુટીઝ હોતા છે, બીજું કંઈ નહીં. પણ ટ્રસ્ટી બોર્ડ કંઈ જ નહીં કરવાનું હોય ને ખાલી રેકમેન્ડેશન જ જો આપવાનું હોય, then it becomes ad hoc committee. ખ્યાલ તમે બધા બી આમાંના ઘણા બધા ફ્યુચરમાં આ ટ્રસ્ટી બોર્ડમાં આવશે. એન્ડ વી આર ડુઈંગ ધીસ ફોર આવર સમાજ. અહીંયા કંઈ આ જે આમાં ટ્રસ્ટી બોર્ડમાં જે આવશે પાસ પ્રેસિડેન્ટમાંથી, એને કોઈ મોટી નથી જોઈતી ભાઈ. આઈ એમ જસ્ટ સ્પીકિંગ ઓન બિહાફ ઓફ ઓલ ધ પાસ પ્રેસિડેન્ટ્સ. સો આમાં આપણા કોઈ તમારે કોઈ ગોળવાની જરૂર નથી. આ તો સારું છે સમાજ માટે. તમને ખબર જ છે કે પાસ પ્રેસિડેન્ટ હજુ કેટલા એક્ટિવ છે ને કેટલા લોકો કામ કરતા જ છે હજુ બી. અને બધા આજે બી આપણી આ કોન્ફરન્સમાં બી આઈ થિંક ઓલમોસ્ટ 14-15 પાસ પ્રેસિડેન્ટ્સ આવેલા છે. દેટ મીન્સ દે કેર. અને તમે બધા બી કેર કરતા છે. આ વી ડુઈંગ ધીસ ફોર અવર સમાજ. Nobody is gonna go there and kick somebody out of the board. We just making it right for our samaj.
So let me just kind of review where we are. The disciplinary action by the trustee board must be in writing to the president. Unless it involves the president, then it goes to the vice president, who will then review it with the entire board. And if the board doesn't agree with it, they turn it over by 66%. The ultimate power still sits here.
So is it just overturning it, or can they change it, the disciplinary action?
Overturned by definition is that you've told us what we said is no, then you can come up with your own. So, yeah. Overturn means literally that it's a no, we're not agreeing with you. But it takes 2/3, let's be clear. So, the president has given me permission to ask for a motion. So I need a motion based on the changes that I just reviewed. So line item C will be, the clause that will be added was, it must be in writing to the president, unless the president is involved, then vice president, presented to the full turn and overturned by 66%.
I have objection.
Need a motion first. Motion and a second, then you have objection.
Let's do the process, put the motion first and then do second and then go discussion.
Harshad Patel, Austin, Texas. Harry.
Harry,
KP second is
Now you can object.
I have objection.
What is the objection?
I still recommend that the recommendation or complaint comes by board of trustee and has to approve by board of directors on disciplinary action.
So Jagdishbhai is basically saying that the trustee board can make only a recommendation, not a decision. The board can go along with that recommendation and approve it with the 2/3 or 66%, or it doesn't stand. What you're trying to vote on right now is saying Whatever the trustee board tells you, you have to overturn that decision.
By 2/3.
What Jagdish Bhai is recommending, and so is Ashish Bhai, that we want to make that decision to pass it or not pass it at the board level. So there's two different things. It may be one and the same at the end, but it basically saying as a board, we want to pass this, as opposed to as a board, we've got to stop this. So there's two different things. So more of an advisor, as Miranda pointed out, ad hoc,
Guys, please.
as opposed to some, you know,
Okay, this is last comment, because by,
Yeah, so while the end result is the same, right, it's 66% approval or 66% override. Whatever. With the recommendation either is going to get approved or it's going to get rejected. Simple. The end result is the same. The difference being, right, the board policing itself is not something I'm in favor of. I believe that the trustee board should be the one that is the one that's coming in with the thing. So, because that's the whole reason that you're doing this. Otherwise, take the trustee board out. You don't need it.
all right, you done, Mukesh Bhai? Thank you very much. I think we have enough discussion, and the way explained Mukesh Bhai, and that is the reason, because I feel that way, we have to have our POT, and that is the reason we brought this motion on the floor. So now we have enough discussion, so let's go for the votes.
Explain first.
Okay, so the motion is on the floor, what Mukesh Bhai put it.
This way, can you repeat once more, so at least everybody knows it?
Okay, so I'm gonna say it. If somebody can just write it down real fast. Can you type it in real fast while I'm speaking? You're the man. Okay. The earlier part of it is what's been written on the paper. Failure to comply with any of the above requirements may be considered as a violation of the association's governing documents, which may result in disciplinary actions by the trustee board. Up to there, it's already written. The disciplinary action must be provided in writing to the president, comma, unless it involves the president, then to the vice president, comma, for disclosure to the board, which can then be overturned by 66%.
Of the board,
Of the board?
Of the board.
or of those who actually showed up?
No, of the board.
Board.
On the board.
Same, yeah.
So if we're doing it in person, the threshold's much higher than doing it on Zoom, right?
We've given the right for virtual or.
Right, I'm saying, let's say we did it here, are we willing to do both, right?
It will be virtual and in person,
That's
right?
what I'm asking.
Yeah.
I got you. Clarification. Make sure we're all on the same page. For the voting board members.
Okay, you wanna read it out?
This disciplinary action must be provided in writing to the president unless it involves the president, then to the vice president for disclosure to the board, which can then be overturned by 66% vote by the board.
That's exactly right.
Well done.
Okay, so
We have a motion and a second, you can go to vote.
So, let's go for the vote. Any abstain? Any nays?
Did you say time in 30 days or something? I got 30 days to take action on the motion, because it's not in the version. Just do it. Actually, it's happening. Yeah. That was 2 years.
Alright, so there is no objection. We're gonna approve. as presented.
So they were gonna do a point of order. Mike was on. So the point of order is basically so people understand what they're voting on, which I know Mukesh Bhai explained. So the question is, if you vote in favor of this as presented, it gives the Board of Trustees the power to decide, and then as a board, you overturn it. Or if you want the Board of Trustees to give you a recommendation, and then the board with 66% voting in favor put it in place, then you have to vote against this motion. So the motion on the floor is to give the trustees the power. If you're in favor of that, you vote in favor. If you don't want that to happen, you have to vote against. So he did a no objections motion. No, that's not, it has to be a motion and a second. That's on the floor.
We have a motion, we have a second, I believe those are no objection motion, correct?
Yeah, that wasn't, it can't, you had a motion and a second, so you can't have no objections motion. You've got an existing motion with a first and a second. You went to discussion. He asked for a vote. If you don't agree, vote against. If you agree with the trustees having that authority, vote in favor.
Bhaiyo and Beno, one more time. At the end result is the same thing. Board has the power to overturn it. So Board of Trustee does not have the final authority. It clearly states in the motion. The board has power to overturn it with 66%. You guys are still the boss.